All right, here we go. Good afternoon, everybody. It's Monday, time for Master Motivation. My name is Jason Flame, and thank you guys for tuning into the show today. We have a special guest, and my guest today is Mr. Mike Storms, who is a lifelong martial artist, a U.S. Marine, top school owner for over 30 years, NFL and college football coach with his combat football system, health coach, business coach, author, and speaker. A coach to coaches. He lives in Louisiana with his wife, Glori, and the dogs, cats, ducks, chickens, sheep, and cows. They have four children, and Mike is a change agent and transformation coach for people that are ready to level up in their personal health and professional life. Excited to have you here today, Mike. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Jason. Hey, I saw the intro. I didn't know you were a professional wrestler.
you know, that tends to come up almost every interview. But yes, I spent the better part of 10 years being involved in the professional wrestling unit. I found a local school, and there's a long story to it, but I had a lot of fun,
One.
and I had a match. I was involved in a battle royal about 3 weeks ago, and looking to get back in there as soon as possible. So
That's
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
exciting.
Yeah.
Well, happy to
Hey,
be here. Exciting to connect with you and all the people in the community about, I'm really positive about what's up for us as gym owners, martial arts owners, teachers, coaches, mentors. There's so much need for us and so much opportunity.
excellent. Yes, yes. And hey, real quick shout out to Emilio Roman. Thank you. Blessings to you as well, sir. Glad to see you and Daniela out there doing your thing. Tune in and stay with us if you have any questions. And Theodore Williams next Monday, ladies and gentlemen. That's TJ. I didn't recognize the name. TJ Williams joining me next Monday. Thanks for tuning in today. Got a bunch of viewers right now. So if you guys are watching, drop those comments, ask those questions. But let's get started right away with Mr. Storms. Can we talk about your background? Can we talk about kind of your upbringing, if you will? What was life like as you were growing up, and what kind of adversity did you face as you were growing up?
Sure. Well, I grew up in New Jersey and was an athlete my whole life, played football and baseball and lacrosse and wrestled and boxed and stuff. And I started martial arts when I was 14 in Pompton Lakes, New Jersey. Started Okinawa Goju at Jack Porter's dojo and was recommended to me by my high school football coach to take my football to the next level with better body mechanics and power and strength and stuff like that. So I started martial arts to enhance football and then just fell in love with it and has been doing it. Be 59 my next birthday, so I've been a martial artist for almost 45 years.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So you played football all through high school.
Played football, grammar school, junior high school, and then attempted to play it in college and blew my knee out.
Oh man, so an injury ended it. What was that? What was your mental thoughts at that time? When you blew out your knee, and you probably had hoped that you were going to play in college.
I was crushed because it was my dream my whole life to play in college and play in the league. But then uh, dropped out of college and joined the Marine Corps and got really into martial arts. So it ended up being the connection. And then my martial arts instructor, who's still my teacher for 40 years, he was the martial arts coach for the San Diego Chargers. And I was able to go with him and train some Chargers. So that is what gave me my NFL dream and my college dream as a coach.
Mm.
Coaching in the NFL and in college since 1994, currently with Tulane University this season as a hand skill development, body mechanics, pass rush, get off blocks, stay on blocks coach.
hmm That's awesome. Now, how did that opportunity come up for you? Because you had the dream of playing, but now you're still engaged and involved on the field. It's interesting. I'll share with you my son, who did play high school football, chose to focus full time on wrestling, and now he's in his senior year. And his goal, his ultimate goal, I think, is to fight in the UFC. That's what he really wants to do. But also, he's going to school because he wants to become a physical therapist. As he was going through his therapy for a dislocated shoulder, he was like, man,
Sure.
this would be a really cool field. And so he would love to be a therapist that not only, works with athletes, but on that higher end of maybe, working in the UFC or working with a professional sports team. So I'm asking simply for a little advice on where I could steer him.
Well, It depends on what it is he wants to do. Like I always wanted to work with people and coach people because since I was a kid, and I mean all of us as coaches, we're all performance coaches, right? We're all
Hmm.
human enhancers, and everything that I've kind of stumbled into was to help other people get better based on what I studied, my own personal experience from martial arts, football, the Marine Corps. I was partners with Dan Kennedy. Him and I created the black belt marketing system for martial arts schools back in 2002. And just whether it's helping people with their marketing, with their business, with their sales, with their mindsets, with their health, with their families, with their personal development, their growth, it's all really the same thing, right?
Hmm.
You want to be part of that catalytic moment when someone gets awakened to the limitless of their personal potential if they'll make decisions and do the work. So the NFL thing was a dream I had that I got through my martial arts instructor. Then the defensive backfield coach of the Chargers got a job with the Saints. Then I got out of the Marine Corps and I had gone to college in Louisiana for a year before I joined the Marines. So I didn't go back to Jersey. I came back to Louisiana and then I got a job at the New Orleans Saints. And then I was with the Saints through three different head coaches. And then coaches would leave the Saints. And then I went to the Nebraska. Then I went to the University of North Carolina. Then I went to Virginia. Then I went to the Miami Dolphins. Then I went to East Carolina. Then I went to Louisiana Tech. Then I went to Louisiana Lafayette. And then this year I was with Tulane at 98 as well
Wow.
as this year. So just coaches see you know what you're doing. They get to a team. They're like, we need this guy. They call you. They hire you. They bring you in.
What was the initial connection, or what got your foot in the door?
Working with my instructor with the Chargers.
Okay, perfect. And what exactly do you do on the field with the players?
Dude, you teach them, we are experts in how to get people's hands off of us.
Hmm.
So I take the movement the football players are doing and apply proper martial arts principles because they don't know, hey, if you're on the outside, you got to get above the elbow. Hey, if you're on the inside, you got to get below the elbow. Hey, make sure that you're not slapping but striking, bone to bone. Get the nerve behind the tricep. Get the ulnar nerve. Get the radial nerve. Fingers are bad weapons. Use your knife edge, your palm heel, your forearm bone, your elbow. So we execute proper swims, proper rips, and then of course they tend to slap. They don't palm heel. So you teach a lineman or a DB or a wide receiver how to use palm heels to get separation or to knock somebody off their stride. It's different than a slap push. And
Hmm.
so we always, we say we're always attacking. We never slap. We always strike. And I add Marine Corps stuff to it too. I said, somebody touches you, they pay. You want somebody to feel like they were in a 3.5 hour fist fight with you. Otherwise, you're not playing real football. The guy's not your opponent, he's your enemy. So I get, a little bit more
Little
mindset
mental.
stuff with the guys going too.
Yeah, no, awesome. Any particular players that you've really enjoyed working with? Is there any player that you feel you had a really big impact with?
Yeah, sure. So we've had players that were part of the system in college or in the NFL, and they ended up going all pro. And were kind enough to say that the combat football system was the reason they did because they didn't have any hand skills and couldn't coordinate their feet with their hands. I mean, if you're depends on what position. Give me a position.
I mean, any of the
Tight
any solid
end,
lineman, tight end, sure.
tight end. Heath Miller, Pittsburgh Steelers, defensive lineman, and Dominic Sue. Everybody knows him. I coached him at Nebraska. Leroy Glover, who played for the Saints and the Cowboys and the Rams. Jamar Nesbitt was with me for many, many years, was on the Saints Super Bowl team. You got guys, Jared Tomich, who was 7 years in the league. He's one of my best friends and also one of my health coach partners now, helping former NFL players and coaches and college players drop their player weight. So the average NFL player dies when they're 53 to 55, and it's because they're overweight. Just like martial arts guys, they're dying too young because they're overweight. Oh, so sorry, Master so and so died. And look at the picture of the guy. He killed himself with his fork, literally. If you're 50, 60, 80 pounds overweight, you're going to get high blood pressure, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes. So Tomich was the best linebacker in the country at Nebraska, Bob Hope All-American, drafted by Coach Ditka at the Saints when I was there. That's where we met. So offensive, defensive linemen, linebackers, all those guys, they use their hands all throughout the game. And the guys with the best technique have the longest careers. The guys with the best technique have the least injuries. The
Mm-hmm.
guys with the best technique make the most money. So they're all big, fast, and strong. That's the ticket to the table in D1 football and NFL football. But the skill set is what separates the players.
Love it. Well, what an awesome experience that you've had to be able to be involved, to take your dream of being a player to still being able to help players exceed and
It's great, and it's
reach
a
their skills.
blessing to me to be able to speak into the life of the young men, to talk to them about integrity and talk to them about being a person, being an honorable man off the field, an animal on the field, but off the field you're a gentleman, and it's just and you got to be able to light them up. I got to tell you, that guys, listen, if you want to coach pro athletes, if you can't demonstrate it on them and make it work, they're not going to listen to you
Mm-hmm.
because they're going to challenge you. So, but once you light them up, and if you can make the stuff work, they listen to you, they respect you, and it makes an impact in the way they play the game, and they can see some progression in their performance. It makes a big difference.
That's really cool to hear. While you guys are watching, we got several viewers right now. Before we move on to another topic, or we move on from here, any questions about college football, NFL, anything we've talked about so far? Please drop those in the comments, and I'll be happy to share that. And otherwise, we're going to move on. But I do want to talk a little bit about being in the United States Marine Corps. When did you go into the Marine Corps? And by the way, I just had an amazing guest the last time, Mike Caro, who is a fireman, and I said this on that show, and I'll say it to you now. I just want to thank you for your service, and thank anybody who has ever served, whether it's military, firemen, police. The ambulance drivers, all the people out there that help keep us safe and do what they do, because a lot of times these people are putting themselves and their lives on the line above and beyond anybody else. So thank you for your service, and tell
Thank
us
you,
about your
sir. I
service.
appreciate that. My pleasure. Yeah, my dad was a Marine. My uncle got the Silver Star in Peleliu. Uh, my best friend went in the Marine Corps a couple of years before me. I went in 1983, went to Paris Island for boot camp, and I was in till 1989. Everybody does 6 years back in the day when I was in. Uh, Enjoyed it immensely. Still connected with a lot of my Marine Corps brothers. Uh, Made me realize two things. One, I wasn't as much of a badass as I thought I was when I went in the Marine Corps. And number two, I was capable of doing anything I put my mind to. And that's the thing, we try to do with martial arts, right? It's the thing I try to do with health coaching and business coaching is people breaking their paradigms. Well, Mike, I can't do that. My family this, or I don't have enough education this, or I'm too tall, I'm too short, I'm too thin, I'm too big, I'm too slow, I'm too fast, I'm not smart, I'm too smart, I don't have any money, I don't have any opportunities. Is that anyone particularly in the United States, can change their mind and then change their complete life, because the opportunities that are available to us right now are going to continue to be greater than ever. People are retracting because of COVID. People are retracting because of inflation. People are retracting because of the impending food shortages and inflation and concerns and worries in the media and the divisiveness. So when
Mm-hmm.
people are retracting, is an opportunity for other people to put the shoulder to the wheel and to expand your market, expand your offering, expand your skill set, expand your mindset, expand your action, expand your confidence, capacity, and then your growth. So, like I said in the beginning, you said I had my school 34 years, had 4 martial arts schools, and every time there was a recession or a crappy thing happened, we drove harder and took more market share. Because when other people would shrink their advertising budget, shrink what they were doing, and get concerned, like tons of people expanded during COVID. A lot of people did big things during COVID because other people went out of business or shut down, which was very sad to see. But all of us are going to see opportunities in this next 6, 12, 18, 24 months we'll never see again in our lifetime because of the changes that are coming. So I think the mindset thing and changing what we think is possible is really the key to our lives. Whether you're a martial artist, a father, a mother, a school teacher, a health coach, a business coach, an athlete, changing challenging everything that you think or believe and asking critical thinking questions and having a flexible mind when presented with new information is really the key to having the greatest advantage in this world today.
Hmm. Well, as you were talking about things kind of going on through COVID, where a lot of people retracted, we saw a huge change just in social behavior alone. Um, for me specifically, I would see it in our karate school with the young children. I mean, some young children had never been to preschool, so they had never interacted. I mean, we're talking 2 years for some people where um, life was somewhat on hold, and so that retraction of, I don't know how to behave, I don't know how to interact with each other. But we also saw it with adults. But you really hit it on the head too, as far as um, people did one of two things. Some people would say this is an opportunity to expand and to grow, and some people would make continue to make the excuses. I mean, that's the only word that I can think of, is that it's an excuse. It's something that we can talk ourselves into or talk ourselves out of, whatever we want to,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
And so we definitely saw that. I mean, our martial arts school, fortunately for us, we were one of the ones that expanded and grew more. We came out of COVID bigger than when we went in. And I'm looking around going, how is this? And we still lost a lot of people. I won't say that we didn't, but we actually grew our numbers, which was amazing to me.
Yeah, that's a 10%. 10% of the industry did that. I think though, because you were looking for the opportunities, you were
Hmm.
looking to the possibilities.
Hmm.
And I think it's fear, and I don't want to get into a bunch of government conspiracy theories, but I will. Uh, it is the advantage of people that want to control you, whether they're bullies at school, bullies at work, bullies in the marketplace, bullies in the world. It is in favor of the bullies to have people in a fear state because then they don't take action. They can't think clearly because of the adrenaline dump, because of it going down to the amygdala and all the stuff we learn in self defense. So I refuse to be scared of anything. And I accept the responsibility as you were of my decisions determine my reality. My thoughts determine my emotions. My emotions determine my actions. So I got to watch my thoughts and my words and what I let go in my ears and my mouth. Garbage in, garbage out. I don't watch the news. I don't watch CNN. I don't watch Fox News. They're both full of shit, right? I am a person that wants to make sure that I am the captain of my ship. I determine my destiny, not the marketplace. Like our health coaching business tripled in size in the last 3 years. And when I say tripled, I mean like went from 1.2 million a year to 5.5 million gross, our health coaching business. And this was a side hustle added to the karate school. And then it just exploded. But there are so many opportunities for people if they're willing to do the work, if
Hmm.
they're willing to get out in the public and serve. Like people ask me all the time, what should I do if I want to coach football? Start volunteering at Little League and go to your local high school that your kid goes to and say, hey, I might be able to help you guys get off some blocks and have a little bit better flexibility and be a little bit more responsive to stimuli and impact. And you just teach people how to fall. Kids get
Hmm.
hurt falling in football games.
Hmm.
Quarterback puts his hand out, dislocates his shoulder, rather
Hmm.
than knowing to roll and fold, right? So
Right.
there's so many great things that we have to offer. And then go to a corporate, offer to go teach for free and do some, warrior mindset stuff at a local business. There's just so much thing because that's how we all started, right? We were volunteering and doing stuff till we got the accolades, till we got the proof, and then you're able to charge for stuff once you've proved your worth.
Right. Well, I think that service based mindset is another thing to really talk about, because a lot of martial arts school owners, in my experience, and so I don't want to totally generalize, but in my experience, you know, they want all the students. They want all of the accolades and they want all of these things, but they are very um, slow to give. And it's something that we learned early on was such a huge part of what made our school what it is today is our community service. I mean, we're involved in
Huge,
in
huge.
Rotary. We've created a community event, part of the Chamber of Commerce. And I have to say too, and I always mention this, is that in the beginning I was young. I opened my school when I was 19 years old. And you know at that time it was all about the ego, and it was all about me, and I love the spotlight. and
All of
and
us did, bro.
right.
It's all of us.
And here comes my wife. Um and she starts volunteering for everything. She just volunteers. When we had kids, the class, in the classroom with the kids, team mom. I mean, everything. The list is huge of what she would do. And I remember thinking to myself, there's something to this. At first I was like, well, what are we going to get out of it? And then it slowly over time just changed completely to, instead of what am I going to get out of it, became what can I give. And the rest is going to come.
I'm a book person, right? I just did a live on my Facebook page today about the secret hack for life is to be a lifelong learner. And 80% of people haven't read a single book in 5 years.
Hmm.
Read the book, The Go Giver, not the Go Getter, The Go Giver. But when we're working on building anything, and people want to, my wife and I are marriage coaches at our church. People are like, hey, what do I do? Mike, to get my wife to want to be romantic. I said, outserve her every day for the rest of your life. What do you mean? She needs to show me respect. I'm like, bullshit. Wash the dishes, take the kids to school, make dinner, do things, serve your spouse. You want a local school to like you and invite you in? Serve the PTA, serve the teachers. Whatever that looks like in your community. You have to give without remembering and receive without forgetting. But if people like my wife and I are, it's very important, martial artists, and all of us hear this, it is a human responsibility, in my opinion, to become wealthy. It's your responsibility to take care of your kids and take care of your parents and take care of the community organizations that you love and support. If you want to know the fastest way to wealth, be generous. Period. End of story. Because we're all we doing is planting seeds. We're planting seeds in our children. We're planting seeds in our marriages. We're planting seeds in our student body at our schools. We're planting seeds online on Facebook. And if you think Facebook isn't a business page, your personal page is your business page.
Hmm.
People do business with people they know, like, and trust. The first one is, do they like you? In 3 to 7 seconds. If you're spouting negative stuff or goofy stuff on your Facebook page, people look at your martial arts school, they look at your gym, they look at your fitness facility, they look at whatever you got, and then they go look at your personal page. If you're a wacko, either far right, far left, or spouting all kinds of weird negative junk on there, just go take a shotgun and blow your feet off. You're shooting yourself in the foot. You're wrecking your public image and your business. And it's super immature anyway to be puking all over people in social
Hmm.
media. But if you want to succeed, give content and value. I mean, Gary Vee was like this big thing when he came out and said, give away all your content, give away all your secrets, give everybody everything.
Hmm.
Then how do you get paid? People pay you for access. They pay you for one-on-one coaching. They pay you for lessons. They pay you to get your time. But you got to give, whether you're giving information, whether you're giving time, whether you're giving your talent, whether you're giving your facility, whether you're giving some resources, some donations, some fundraising, some money. Giving is the way to abundance.
I
Period.
love it. I love it. I get goosebumps hearing you talk about this because I feel the exact same way. I've learned so much. So I've learned so much more and received so much more from continuing to give and give back to our community. I think that, like you said, it is our responsibility to do that, because our community I feel our community is what has supported our business for so long and
100%.
kept us here. how could we not give back? And I see, I just see the ones that struggle, and it's like, man, here's an opportunity. Well, I got this and I got that, and I can't make it, and the excuses all come up. And at some point we all learn our lessons. But I'm glad that you touched on that subject a little bit, and I want to get back to how did you open your very first martial arts school?
No, that's a great question. So I was a broke ass Marine who wanted to teach karate, and so I rented a ballet school out 2 nights a week after they were done with classes.
Mhm.
So I had classes at 6 o'clock on Tuesdays and Thursdays to 7 for kids, 7 to 8 for adults. And then I had so few students, I was working in New Orleans on Bourbon Street as a bouncer to pay the rent at the dance school, karate school, and then also to pay the rent in my apartment. And then the school grew to the point where I had to do more classes, more nights. After about a year, we had like 35 students back in 1987. So then I opened a little tiny, 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 tiny school, like 1,100 square feet. And the school didn't do well because I didn't know how to sign people up. I didn't never went to a seminar, never anything. And then in late 87, early 88, maybe, I went to a dear friend of mine, a Kempo master, legit, Brian Duffy in Austin, Texas, borrowed my mother's car, drove to his school for a seminar. He let me sleep on the floor of his school to go to a seminar with Jun Rhee himself. And there was about 30 martial arts school owners from around the southeastern United States, and learned about how to do a proper info call, because
Mhm.
people are still doing wrong. How to do a proper walk-in procedure, how to do a proper enrollment conference, how to do a proper introductory lesson. And then that was the beginning of the next phase. Then I rented a 2,000 square foot place next to a big video store and a Walmart and Albertsons and a shopping center in Hammond, Louisiana. And that school built up very quickly and did well. Then we opened a school in another town, and those both did very well. Then we opened our headquarters school, which is in the town we're in now, 24 years ago. Goodness gracious. And that's the big $1.5 million facility I own. We built ourselves with a torii gate. You walk in, and a Zen garden, and a black pine with sago palms, and all this cool, Okinawan stuff in there. But it just kind of grew from a ballet school to a little junkie school to a little tiny strip mall school to another town to a headquarters school. And it just kept going, and I kept learning. I ran into Dan Kennedy in 1989 and learned that marketing mattered. How to, and he was very big on giving a ton of value. Make sure when people come to your place, they get twice as much as what they pay for, Mike. You're supposed to give them a 15-minute private lesson. Make it 20 minutes and make it the best lesson they've ever had in their life. Ask the
Yeah.
parents why they're there. Wait a minute. Don't teach the kids what I want to teach them. Ask the parent what the kid needs. Amazing. Right? So, and I created something called the Safer, Smarter Kids program, which is an anti-abduction, anti-sexual abuse program. It was my first info product that I taught to martial arts schools, scouting troops, school boards, anybody that teaches kids need to know how to talk to kids about stranger danger. I was the one who brought that into the industry back in 1989, and still teach it and stuff like that. But always trying to find ways to add value to what we brought, be current, be relevant in the schools with what the kids and parents and stuff need. And that's kind of why we shifted to health coaching and after that, because the number one problem in our country is insulin driven. The top 10 kills of men and women aren't carjackings and muggings and rapes and home invasions. They're lifestyle illnesses. So if you say you teach self defense and you don't teach health and wellness and don't exhibit it yourself, you're missing what real safety is for your people. Your students are going to die of heart attacks and strokes and heart disease and high blood pressure more than they are being robbed at gunpoint. So then we started adding that because the change in the culture of people's health got pretty severe and significant, and then that thing just exploded. I mean, it beat our after-school program, our summer camps, our black belt course, our master's course. It just eclipsed everything times 10. It's the best thing
So
we've ever done.
So I got to go back and ask a question because some people would not sleep on the floor of a school to go to a seminar or drive halfway across the country. What was driving you to do that? Because like I said, I mean, some people would just I'm not going to sleep on the floor somewhere. I'm not going to drive there. I don't want to pay this much money. What was it in you that that pushed you to go through that to get that information?
I wanted to be better. I knew I needed to be better. And I think that's a thing I would say this and just let me finish it. We're all liars. When I say that, I mean, people say, I don't have time. You're a liar. You got time, it's just not a priority.
Mm.
People say, I don't have the money to do that. You got the money, you're just spending it on crap you don't need, right? So, but the worst lie is a lie you tell yourself that you're good enough, or you don't need to learn anymore, or the status quo is okay, or your health isn't that bad, or your school's doing okay, or your marriage is okay, or your kids are doing okay. When you know that there's things missing in your life and you need to attack those things like it is your singular purpose to be on a constant self-improvement project with yourself and your surroundings and those around you, starting with you. Don't try to make anybody better. Make you better and let them catch the draft. Everyone wants to make their spouse better or make their kids better. Well, how about we become a better spouse and a better parent first? My kids need to get better. You're kind of a crappy parent. Why don't you work on your communication and your listening with your kids? Then your kids will get better. But we have to work on us, right? Physician, heal thyself first. And like I go by the title sensei, right? My instructor is the head of our system, did the Panther videos for Eskrima. He's 84 years old, last promoted in 1972 to 8th Dan, and then his instructor died in 75. He's never taken another rank. Arsenio Advincula was instructor of the year for Black Belt Magazine in 1989. We call him sensei. I don't need to be called master or grandmaster. I don't need it. I don't want it. I don't want there to be this big, giant gap between me and my students. I want to be relatable. I want people to be able to connect with me. Now, I'm not saying that that's bad if that's part of someone's culture or system, but just for me, I knew that for me personally, I wanted to always be striving harder and always on the path of becoming.
Hmm.
Always on the
And,
path of becoming.
and if I could dig just a little bit deeper, why?
Well, I said, I think some of us, and for me, for one, I never got the approval of my father. My dad never told me he was proud of me, never told me he loved me. And I was a really good student athlete. And I was a good kid. I didn't get in trouble, didn't do anything wrong. He grew up in a depression in New York, and that's just how he was. He was a Marine too. And his dad was a monster, so he did better than his dad did with me. But I think one of the things that I used was negative motivation. I wanted to prove anybody and everybody that ever thought that I was not going to be the best at anything I ever touched, I was going to prove them wrong. Right? And then the people that mentored me and poured into me, I felt like I had a mission and obligation to reward their faith in me with my productivity and growth. Still to this day, I still talk to my high school football coach on his birthday because he was like a second dad to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
My
that's awesome.
instructor, I was in California and LA, drove 2.5 hours to see him and his wife for an hour for lunch at his house in Oceanside, and thanked him. And I did a post about it when I got back, but after God, my mother, my wife, my martial arts instructor, and my high school football coach, those are the 5 people that made me the man I am today. I didn't do it. I'm not a self-made man. What a bunch of horse crap. I am a product of my failures, my successes, my opportunities, and my mentors, and people that cared enough to pour into me. And also, I'm a product of my enemies and my naysayers. Everything contributes. I'm thankful for the people that told me I was stupid or I wasn't going to make anything of myself. Like that told me, how do you like me now? Now that I'm on my way. I love that song.
So you mentioned the word failure, and I asked about this, early on pre-interview. Talking about failures. What are some of the things that you believe that you have failed in that have catapulted you to the level of success that you have now?
Great question. So, uh, my wife and I have been together for 28 years. I was married before that, and my marriage failed. And I was a selfish, immature guy in his late 20s, and I made lots of mistakes. I didn't make all the mistakes, but I made a lot of them. And I was committed after that to go to marriage events, to go to weekends to remember, to read books on marriage, to get a marriage coach, to go to marriage counseling when we needed to, and to go all in on the growth of myself and our relationship. My best friend, the Marine I mentioned earlier, went to the Marine Corps before me. He is a very successful Irish pub owner in New York City. You've all been to his pubs. He has 15 of them. And he owns a hotel in New York. And we were best friends, still best friends. And we opened a live music place in New Orleans. And I lost $160,000, half my retirement at the time, and half of my kids' college fund. I made it all back in spades after that. But never invest in a business you don't understand. And don't, invest blue chip stocks, name brands like Apple and Microsoft, and stuff like that. And when I lost that money, I have never worked that hard for the next 5, 10 years. And I, quintupled all of our other businesses because failure is the greatest motivator and seed for your future potential. If you stop having a pity party after a few weeks or months and get off your ass, seek counsel, begin the rebuilding process. But I think people take failure as a label. You're a failure. No. The event was a failure. The investment was a failure. You're not a failure. You failed at something and learned the bigger the failure, the greater the seed opportunity for greatness afterwards. If you look at it as an opportunity to learn and grow. Now, if you keep going back to that same pig trough and eat the slop, well, I just need to open another business with somebody else who's better. You find what you did wrong, don't repeat the mistake, and learn from it and use it as jet fuel to launch yourself to your next success.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing all of that. I want to finish with talking a little bit more about your health coaching, I'm going to say right here on this live that I'm starting my first day of 75 hard again, uh,
Nice.
which I have completed 75 hard, the full, before phase one, then phase one, phase two. Have not completed phase three yet, but starting 75 hard today. And for me, the diet is always the hardest. It's always
Don't
the
use
hardest
that
thing.
word. We don't use 4-letter words.
Okay,
Here's
the
the
food,
challenge
the
is, bro,
food,
a diet is something you go on and off of. It's not a lifestyle change.
right.
What we teach, what we coach is 100% success, period. Because we coach habits, mindsets, choices, and give the medical information, not a fad. We teach a physician created, clinically proved program that everybody succeeds on. And I can say, if you're a martial artist and on this, and have you seen any martial artists get back to their fighting weight in the last 4 years? It was through this program with me or one of my school owner coaches. We have dozens of schools all over the nation earning 5 and 6-figure incomes net at their schools, helping all their adult students, their parents, and all their martial arts friends get healthy. But it's a lifestyle. So 75 hard's great. I love it. Here's the key: insulin resistance. Here's the key: 7 to 9 hours of uninterrupted sleep. Here's the key: half your body weight in water in ounces. Here's the key: avoid all high glycemic foods. Here's the key: potatoes, French fries, pasta, bread, and rice are the same as a bowl of ice cream, as are bananas and pineapples and most fruits. Juices are poison. Gatorade is poison. Soda, is poison. False sugars are worse than real sugar. They're neurotoxins. They're against the law to be in kids' foods. We know most of this stuff. Eat 6 times a day, drink a ton of water, have protein every time you eat. Can be in the form of nuts, can be in the form of turkey pepperoni. Doesn't have to be crazy meal prep, can be a protein bar, can be a protein shake. It's simple. I started the program 4 years ago. I lost 42 pounds in 90 days and have kept it off for 4 years. I have the energy of a 25-year-old, and I'm 58. I'm shredded. Like I'm 6 feet tall, I weigh 184, which was my Marine Corps weight when I was 19. I can outwork the teenagers that I hire to work at my farm. I get up at 5 in the morning, go straight through till 9 at night, go to bed, get back up at 5, 355 days a year. Other 10 days we're at an event or a party. I might be out a little bit later. That's your circadian rhythm. You need consistent sleep. Men and women in their 50s can up their metabolism 30 to 40% by getting regular sleep. Your metabolism doesn't slow down until you're in your 70s. It's your food and your habits. Best way to lose fat, go for a walk. Intense exercise is the worst way to lose fat. You guys like the Blue Zone people, Okinawa. They don't have CrossFit gyms over there in Orange Theory and high intensity. They walk everywhere. Sardinia, they walk everywhere. China, walking, that steady, low cardio, best way in the world. That's when your body accesses fat.
Well, good to know because I'm back on my 45 minutes inside, 45 minutes outside, right? And it's 100 and whatever. So
Well,
I'll be walking tonight. I'll be walking tonight,
go
and
for a
that's it.
walk, but bring one of those Camelback water straw things. You're
Right.
out there.
Well, one of the things too for me that I love about because everything about 75 hard deals with a lot of the things you're saying. Cutting out sugars, cutting out alcohol, choosing a meal plan, better word than diet, a meal plan that is more conducive to you know maintenance instead. Because I actually love food is what I've been used to. So I go in and out of these. I'm going to allow myself to have this, and then it just stretches too long,
Sure. Well,
right?
like if you look at my Facebook feed, I made fresh Gulf shrimp, blackened goldfish shrimp for lunch.
Right.
Uh, you look at some of the salad, like I love, my sister's a famous chef. I love to cook. My wife and I cook all the time. There's an alternative, ultra healthy thing for something you love that you
And
will feel completely satiated with, and you'll feel like $1,000,000. And what I would say about the lifestyle part and the one you can live with, eat beautifully perfect 90% of the time, eat what you want 10% of the time. I went to Los Angeles, bro. I had gluten-free pancakes when I was out there
hmm,
with creme fraiche on them. My wife and I had pizza at some great pizza place. But 5 years ago, I'd eat a whole friggin' pizza.
right,
Now I have 2 slices and I'm done.
right,
So you manage your choices and live your life with your optimal health goal in mind. Still enjoy yourself. You still can live with the program because you're going to feel so darn good. You
hmm,
never want that sluggish insulin crash, carb hangover, or sugar hangover again.
right. Well, and the substituting. I used to. I would love. Let's just say mashed potatoes, right? But I would substitute that with cauliflower.
Oh, bro, I
Fresh
got a
cauliflower.
protein. So our program comes with nutritional meal replacement. It has mashed potatoes in it. I love mashed potatoes. I put a little sprinkle of garlic in there, a little sprinkle of sea salt, and I have a garlic potato fueling that scratches my itch.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
love mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes and peanut butter are proof that God loves us.
Right. Well, I'm with you on peanut butter for sure. Well, I'm going to be following because I have seen some of the things that you've cooked, and I'm going to be following that. And fortunately, I have a lot of friends that have similar programs and talk about good meal planning and meal uh, just better choices, as you said,
Yeah, it's
better
choice.
choices. What I need to work on. But I'm excited. 75 hard is has been something. I love the challenge of 75 hard because it forces me to do things that I really don't want to do.
Yes, sir.
But I do
Love it.
feel, man, drinking that gallon of water, I feel the difference. Walking, what I was going to say about the walking. What I love most about the walk, to be honest with you, is it's not the 45 minutes of exercise. It's the 45 minutes of walking with my wife where we get to have uninterrupted conversation and enjoy time together. So that adds a
Yeah.
whole different layer to the whole thing. So
I
I'm
walk
excited
with my
about it.
wife
Yeah.
every morning, and it
Yeah.
is. You talk about your day, you connect, it's relational. It's a beautiful time.
It is. It is. Well, guys, we're right near the end of our time today. Still several people watching, but if you have any comments or anything that you want to ask in the comments now, or if you're watching the replay and you want to throw a comment in there, I'll make sure that Mike gets it and answers it at another time. But
Happy
Mike,
to.
thanks for your time today, and thanks for sharing information, experience,
I want to
some
leave everybody with
motivation.
a tip. If they're a school owner, collect testimonials from your clients. What you say about your program is suspect. Do a testimonial contest at Belt graduation. I invented this system and I've taught it to all the schools that I've done business coaching with. $50 or $100 gift certificate to the best steakhouse in your town for the best testimonial. Talking about the things that their student family member got from being in your program. Make the testimonial part of the requirement. Please share your experience with our program, and whoever shares their experience and the best testimonial will win this. Second place is this. We have over 3,500 written testimonials from our students. And that is what you use for your marketing and on your website and in your school, and then you have a notebook of them. You just flip them. Oh, ADD. Oh, confidence. Oh, health and fitness, a binder with labels in it. You just have letters from happy parents and families.
That's awesome. That's a great idea. I love it. I agree with you when you said it too. When you talk about your school, it's suspect because I mean I could talk about my school all day long and I could tell you how great it is.
It's
But
great.
but nothing is better than hearing it directly from our parents. As a matter of fact, when we have introductory lessons in our school and there's classes going on, I make sure that the parent that is there with their child for the first time actually gets to meet another parent from our school
Beautiful.
that's been there for a little while because then they can talk about their experience. And I think that that makes a big difference in their decision because in the very beginning you mentioned something that I believe strongly in. People do business with who they like, they know, like, and trust. And so
Period.
building relationships over time, building your name and your brand, and letting people know who you are and what you do in your community, I think is super key. So I'm glad you
That has
shared that
glimpse into
information.
your personal life too. Like we have posts about our farm, our kids, our dogs. Don't just be a one-dimensional person on social media. People buy from people they know, like, and trust. They got to see your family. They got to see your life. They got to see your hobbies. Very important.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again, Mike, for your time. I really appreciate you and look
My
forward
pleasure,
to
brother.
staying connected, over the lifetime. But I love following everything that you do on social media. So keep it up and keep inspiring others.
Thanks. If everybody needs anything from me, just bounce a message to Jason or me on Facebook. I'd be happy to serve or help in any way I can.
Thank you so much. All right, guys. Well, we'll be back on Wednesday. I have a special guest this Wednesday. If you've ever seen the movie Vision Quest, one of my all-time
Oh,
favorite movies,
beautiful. It's
Vision
a
Quest.
great
I
one.
got I got Frank Jasper who played Shoot, who was the big buff dude at the end that went against Matthew Modine. So have him on Wednesday, and then every week on Monday we got some more guests coming up. TJ Williams coming up. He was on here today. We got Shane Tassel coming up. So
Shane's
many more.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So keep up with us, guys. Hope you enjoyed this today. If you enjoyed it, please share it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again, Mike.
Thanks, everybody.